Hello. Does this work? Yes, it does. Does this work? Yes, it does. Does this work? Yes, it does. Let us begin, my friends. Okay. What are all the tenses and which one makes sense to learn after present continuous and present perfect? Okay, so today let's learn the simple past. Preterito indefinido. Okay. So the preterite tense is used to talk about completed actions that happened at a specific time in the past. And it's used for actions that happened once and finished, happened at a specific time. They form a sequence of completed events. Okay. So completed past actions. Yesterday I ate pizza. Last year I traveled to Mexico. Maria arrived late. I entered, greeted everyone and sat down. So this would be form a sequence of completed events. Makes sense. So to form it, AR verbs, which would be hablar, almorzar, you remove the AR and you add these things for these different subjects. Okay, this is a lot to remember. Okay, so first we'll just copy that across. So how do you form it? It's different for AR verbs and ER-IR verbs. So hablar will become hablé, hablaste, you ate, no, you spoke. Ayer, anoche, la semana pasada. Yesterday, I studied Spanish. Hace una hora llamé a mi madre. So, supposedly people get confused between present perfect and simple past. Present perfect is used when the past action is connected to the present. So today I have studied Spanish. Yesterday I studied Spanish. Okay, so past is completely when the action is finished, it's in the past, it's over. Where present perfect is that it's still continuing. I have blank. Okay. Oh, this is a lot to learn. Let's do a big stretch before we begin. Oh. Almorzar, almorzat, almorzar, almorzaste. You lunched. Morzazzo. Samos, amos, astes, aron. I suppose with nosotros, the amos it continues from the previous ones. Vosotros, estéis, it's still a pattern that continues. So the other four are the ones to learn. With ER and IR verbs, you take off the ER or IR and add these endings. Imos, so iste, io, imos, estes, eron. Okay, what's the best way to learn this? A, aste, o, amos, astes, aron. Iste. Okay. It's not too different between the two. So where it up here it's hablé, it's I, comí. Aste, iste, o, io. Amos, imos, astes, istes. Aron, ieron. So if we learn one, we have learnt both. Then it's just remembering that when it's ER and IR, we add the I. Just gonna... There you go. So yo aste o amos astes aron y iste io imos istes ieron. So let's try and remember some of these. Let's finish reading this first of all. Okay. Common irregulars are, let's copy this across. So in the past, if you went somewhere, I went somewhere is fui, and él, ella fue. Estar, to be, I was, estuve, estuvo. Tener, tuve, tuvo. Hacer, hice, hizo. Venir, vine, vino. To come, I came, she came. Poder, pude, pudo. I can, she can. Poner, to put, I put, puse, puso. Decir, dije, dijo. Fui, fue. Estuve, estuvo. Tuve, tuvo. Hice, hizo. Vine, vino. Pude, pudo. Puse, puso. Dije, dijo. Okay. So fui al cine. I went to the cinema. Tuve un examen. I had an exam. Hice la tarea. I did the homework. So if the action is completed and I know when it happened, it's the past tense. It's preterito indefinido. Yesterday I ate pizza. On Monday I worked a lot. In 2023 I lived in Madrid. Okay, so let's also get down some of these time expressions. Ayer, yesterday, anoche, last night, la semana pasada, last week, el mes pasado, last month, el año pasado, last year, hace dos días, 2 days ago, in 2024, esta mañana, if the morning is already over, ayer. For an hour, I spoke to, or an hour ago. Hace una hora, an hour ago, I spoke to my mum. Perfect. Okay, let's practice simple sentences in simple past. I ate an apple. I ate an apple. ate an apple in the past and I ate it. I have not eaten it, I ate it. Yo comer, the ER becomes I, comí una manzana. You studied Spanish. Estudiar, estudiasto. Tú estudiasto español. Let's check that one. Tú estudiaste. Tú estudiaste. Español. She worked yesterday. Trabajar. Trabajaste. No. Él trabajó. Ayer. Ella trabajó ayer. We watched a movie. Watched. Ver. Ver. Ya. So nosotros. Visto. Is this an irregular? No. Ver. Vimos. Ver. No, nosotros vimos. Nosotros vimos. Una película. They lived in Madrid. Ellos vivir. 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 I-N. Vieron. Vivir. Vivieron. Vivieron in Madrid. Okay, so I actually haven't got the hang of it. So actually, can we please go back and I just look over them again? Okay. I might write them on my book and then work through them so I can see them in front of me. Okay. Simple past. Preterito. AR verbs. Hablar, almorzar. What was the one we learnt yesterday? Alcanzar, avanzar, ganar. So with AR verbs, you take off the AR, the jaw, you add an E at the end. E. Hable, almorcé, alcancé, gané. Okay, but tú, you add aste, hablaste, almorzaste, alcanzaste, avanzaste. Okay, él/ella, you add an O at the end. Habló, almorzó, alcanzó, avanzó. Nosotros, you add an amos at the end. Hablamos, almorzamos, alcanzamos, avanzamos. Okay, for vosotros, you all, you add an astéis at the end. Astéis. Vosotros hablasteis. Vosotros alcanzasteis, almorzasteis, almorzar, almorzasteis, alcanzasteis, zasteis, avanzasteis. Ellos, you add an aron at the end. Hablaron, almorzaron, alcanzaron, avanzaron, ganaron. Okay? And then for IR and ER verbs, comer, vivir, sentir, hacer, no, we don't do hacer because that's irregular. Aprender, yo, and then becomes I, y, comí, viví, sentí, aprendí, tú, iste, comiste, viviste, sentiste, aprendiste, él/ella, yo, comió, vivió, sentió, aprendió, nosotros, imos, comimos, vivimos, sentimos, aprendimos, vosotros, istes, comistes, vivistes, sentistes, aprendistes, ellos, hieron, comieron, vivieron, sintieron, aprendieron. Okay, I still don't think it's completely gone in yet, but slowly, eh? Let's see if we can find somebody explaining it to us in a way of remembering.
This is your brain when you're struggling to focus. And this is your brain when you're in the zone. But
Just like in English, there are lots of ways to use the past tense in Spanish. I went, I was going, I have gone, I had gone, I would have gone. All of these are past tense. Today, we're learning about the simplest one. It's called the preterite, or in Spanish, preterito. In English and in Spanish, the preterite is a one-word formation, which is why we call it the simple one. I mean, look how many words these other formations have. So, how do we form this preterito? Well, just like in English, there is a pattern. Our English pattern consists of adding the suffix ed to most words. Today, I jump. Yesterday, I jumped. Today, you look. Yesterday, you looked. Of course, we also have tons of irregular preterites. They seem obvious now, but when you were younger, people had to correct you for following the pattern when you actually needed the irregular verb. For example, it's not I runned, but I ran. It's not I seed, but I saw. It's not I ammed, but I was. Not shaked, but shook. Not thinked, but thought. And not telled, but told. And there are lots more. Spanish is very similar. There's a pattern and also some irregulars. We'll start with the steps to follow the pattern. Step 1. Start with the stem of the verb. And if you don't know what I mean when I say stem, you can check out the video that's in the description below. So, on to step 2. If the infinitive was an AR verb, add these endings. For example, mandar means to send. The stem is mand. So when I add these endings to the stem, I get yo mandé, I sent. Tú mandaste, you sent. Ella mandó, nosotros mandamos, vosotros mandasteis, ellos mandaron. A few things to note here. Let's put the present tense of mandar up as well to make a few comparisons. For the preterite, make sure these accents are in place. The yo form and the el, ella, usted form. Mandó means he or she sent, but mando, without the accent, is back to the regular present tense conjugation of the yo form, I send, present tense. Also, check out the nosotros forms. They're the same. How can you tell if someone means we send or we sent? The answer is context. What is the rest of the conversation like? For example, if they use hoy, which means today, it's probably present tense, whereas if they say ayer, or yesterday, it must be past tense. Ayer estudiamos mucho, pero hoy no estudiamos para nada. Yesterday we studied a lot, but today we aren't studying at all. Now back to the pattern. That was AR verbs. If the infinitive was an ER verb, we add these endings. For example, correr means to run. The stem is cor, and with the endings, yo corrí, I ran. Tú corriste, you ran. Ella corrió, nosotros corrimos, etc. Again, notice the accents. This time, though, we don't have the same issues as the AR verbs because the nosotros form is different from the present tense by one letter. Corremos, we run. Corrimos, we ran. Finally, if the infinitive was an IR verb, we add these endings. Hey, that looks like good news. ER and IR verbs have the same endings in the preterite. Sweet, one less thing to memorize. Now, here's an example of an IR verb conjugated in the preterite. Escribir is to write. Escribí, I wrote. Escribiste, you wrote. Escribió, escribimos, escribisteis, escribieron. So that's the pattern. Are you ready for some irregulars? We'll include the most common irregular verbs in this video, but that doesn't mean that it's all of them. Some irregulars just have different stems, but the endings still follow a pattern. So this should look familiar, but notice that there are no accents on the yo or ella form this time. For example, estar means to be. The preterite stem is estuve. Add these endings, and you get estuve, I was, estuviste, you were, ella estuvo, nosotros estuvimos, vosotros estuvisteis, and ellos estuvieron. So once you get these irregular stems, the endings fall into place. I had is yo tuve. You put is tú pusiste. He could, él pudo. We found out, supimos. It didn't fit, no cupo. As for the rest of the irregulars, you could divide them up further, but I'll lump them together and just say what you probably don't want to hear, which is you have to memorize them. By the way, if you want a comprehensive guide to divide these up into smaller chunks, check out the link included in the description.
友達と一緒に昼ご飯も食べます。いいですね。Before.
So here they are. Completely irregular verbs to memorize. Ser. To be. Yo fui, tú fuiste, fue, fuimos, fuisteis, fueron. Ir means to go. And look at this. They're the exact same. Again, we need context to tell them apart. Dar means to give. I gave, yo di. Tú diste, él dio, nosotros dimos, vosotros disteis, ellos dieron. Ver is to see, vi, viste, vio. Hacer means to do or to make. Hice, hiciste, etc. Querer means to want. Yo quise, I wanted, etc. Venir means to come. Yo vine, tú viniste, etc. Decir means to say. Yo dije, tú dijiste, you said, etc. Traer means to bring. Yo traje, tú trajiste, él trajo. And finally, conducir means to drive. Yo conduje, tú condujiste, etc.
I must say this is no fun at all. Why is there so many irregulars? Okay.
Again, these just have to be memorized. You can decide for yourself how you're going to study these. Maybe some flashcards, quizzing yourself. Either way, you've got to find a way to memorize this entire page. Oh, and one more thing. There are some spelling changes even with regular verbs, just like in English. For example, buscar means to look for. The stem is busc. But this yo form is off. If we pronounce it the way it is now, we would get busé. But we want to preserve this hard C sound like it was in the infinitive, buscar. In order to do that, we have to have a spelling change in the yo form, changing the C to a QU, giving us busqué. We don't need to change the rest of the forms because they already preserve the hard C sound. Buscaste, buscó. This also happens with verbs that end in GAR. You have to add a U to keep the hard G sound. For example, juzgar means to judge. Yo juzgué, I judged with an extra U. Ellos juzgaron with no change. They judged and the hard G is preserved. Are you ready for some practice?
No.
Let's do it. Give me the Spanish word for she brought. The infinitive is traer. That's right, ella trajo. How about I went? The infinitive is ir. That's right, yo fui. Okay, what about they saw? From the infinitive ver. That's right, vieron. How about you, informal, wrote? It's the tú form. Yep, that's tú escribiste. To finish strong, why don't you pause the video here and conjugate all of these verbs in the preterite. And that's it. You did it. The Spanish...
I didn't do it. I didn't do it yet. Okay. We go back to our strategy. Number 6. He opened the door. Opened, abrir. He abrió. Él abrió la puerta. I bought bread. Comprar. I Compré. Yo compré. Imagine the accent. Imagine the accent. Compré el pan. You drank water. Bebí, beber. Bebí, beber. Bebeste. Tú bebiste agua. She wrote a letter. Escribir. Escribió. Ella escribió una carta. I have not memorized this. It's from my book. We learned a lot. Aprender. Aprendimos. Nosotros aprendimos mucho. I walked to school yesterday. Ayer yo caminé. Imagine the accent. Caminé a escuela. He arrived late. Arrived is venir. Venir, I think venir is an irregular. Venir, he arrived. Vino. Él vino tarde. They visited their grandparents last weekend. Ellos is visited irregular. Visitar. Visitaron. Their. I don't know how to say there. Ellos visitaron los abuelos last weekend. Semana de pasada. Semana de pasada. La semana pasada. No. La fin de semana pasada. El fin de semana pasada. El fin de semana pasada. We finished the project last night. Finished. Terminar. Nosotros terminamos el proyecto anoche. She cleaned the house this morning. Cleaned, limpiar. Ella limpió. Imagine the accent. La casa mañana. I called my friend 2 hours ago. Hace 2 horas I called my friend. Called. Llamar. Llamé. Imagine the accent. Llamé mi amiga. You cooked dinner yesterday. Cocinar. To cook. You cooked. Cocinar. Tú cocinaste la cena ayer? They played football after school. Ellos jugar. They jugaron fútbol after school. Después de escuela. I'm sure that's not a direct translation, but veremos. We traveled to Spain last year. We traveled, viajar. Nosotros viajamos a España last year, el año pasado. He sold his car last month. Él sold, I don't know the verb for sold. To sell, vender. He sold. Vendió. Imagine the accent on the O. Vendió su coche el mes pasado. I think maybe we leave that there. For today. Yo comí una manzana, accent. Okay, so this is how it would be. These are all the corrected. Caminé a la escuela. Él vino tarde. Okay, so the first 10 are fine. Estudiaste, it's just the accents, which obviously I do know where they go. Yo compré, maybe just, I think saying the sentences out loud will make them soak into my brain. Yo comí una manzana. I ate an apple. Tú estudiaste español. You studied Spanish. Ella trabajó ayer. She worked yesterday. Nosotros vimos una película. We watched a movie. Ellos vivieron en Madrid. They lived in Madrid. Él abrió la puerta. He opened the door. Yo compré el pan. I bought bread. Tú bebiste agua. You drank water. Ella escribió una carta. She wrote a letter. Nosotros aprendimos mucho. We learned a lot. Okay, so it looks like most of the last ones were incorrect, but the verb conjugations were all fine. It's just because I didn't have the accents and missing a before certain missing a, which means to, missing articles, la escuela, pasado, esta mañana, etc. but the verb conjugations were fine. Ayer yo caminé a la escuela. A la escuela. Él vino tarde. Ellos visitaron a sus abuelos el fin de semana pasado. Nosotros terminamos el proyecto anoche. Proyecto. Ella limpió la casa esta mañana. Hace. Okay. Let's do a quick tense jumble with only regular verbs. Tense jumble. Okay. Yo aprendió. No. I study Spanish every day. Aprender, hablar, hablo, aprendo, yo aprendo. Oh my gosh. No. Estudio español todas los días, todas las días. She cada día. She is eating dinner. She is eating dinner. In the present continuous, she is eating the dinner. Ella está comiendo la cena. We watched a movie yesterday. We watched a movie yesterday. We watched it in the simple past yesterday because it's a completed action. Nosotros watched, ver, we watched, vimos, vimos. Yes, is that correct? Vimos. Vimos una película ayer. They have finished the project. They have finished the project. Purely because I know I'm learning simple past, it wouldn't have in it. So I'm going to go that this will be present perfect, which would mean that it would be ellos han terminado el proyecto. You are walking to school in the present continuous tense. Tú estás caminando a la escuela. I called my friend last night. This is a finished action. This is past simple, aka preterite. I called my friend last night. Anoche llamé, imagine the accent, llamé mi amiga. He works in a hospital. He works there in the present tense. Él trabaja en un hospital. We have cleaned the house. This is present perfect because we've got the have, we've got the cleaned past participle. So nosotros, we have cleaned the house. Nosotros hemos limpiando la casa. They are drinking coffee in the present continuous tense. Ellos están bebiendo el café. You learned a lot last year. This is past, simple past. El año pasado, please imagine the accent. You learned a lot. Tú aprendiste. Tú aprendiste mucho. Okay. I buy bread every Saturday. This is present simple. Yo compro el pan todos los sábados. She has written a letter in the present perfect. She has written. Ella ha escribido una carta. We are traveling to Spain. We are traveling to Spain. Nosotros. We are traveling to Spain in the present continuous. Nosotros hemos viajando a la España. He sold his car last month. El mes pasado. He sold his car. So it's el past simple. Vender. El vendió. Lovely stuff. Imagine the accent, please. El vendió on the O. Vendió la coche. They visit their grandparents every weekend. Present continuous. Present simple. Ellos visitan a sus abuelos todos los fines de semana. Excellent. I think we've done a smashing job there. But participles, prepositions, spellings, and articles. Okay. Llame a mi amigo. Okay, there needed to be an R here. Estudio español cada día. Fine. Ella está comiendo la cena. Fine. I'm gonna take that. I don't care. I'm gonna take that. Nosotros vimos una película ayer. Ellos han terminado el proyecto. Tú estás caminando a la escuela. Fine. Anoche llamé a mi amiga. Perfect. Él trabaja en un hospital. Nosotros hemos limpiado. Hemos makes it past present perfect. So not limpiando la casa. Fine. Makes sense. Ellos están bebiendo café. No, el café están bebiendo. El año pasado tú aprendiste mucho. Yo compro el pan todos los sábados. Ella ha escrito, no escribido, escrito una carta. Ella ha escrito una carta. Nosotros hemos viajado, no viajado a España. El mes pasado él vendió su la coche. Ellos visitan a sus abuelos todos los fines de semana. Ellos visitan a sus abuelos todos los fines de semana, no semanas. Haber plus past participle. Never use ando y endo after haber. Comido, limpiado. Okay, fair enough. Llamar a. Calling someone, llame a. Okay, there needs to be an R when you're calling someone. Estudiado. Okay, this is a good one. I will copy those in there. Perfect. lovely stuff. I am going to leave it there. Oh, how do you say that? I am going. Yo voy a salir. Está aquí. Yo voy a salir. Está aquí. Combines two separate. I'm going to leave. Voy a salir. Voy a salir de aquí. Voy a salir de aquí. Adiós, amigos. Disfrutando mucho. Gracias. Chao. Adiós. Bye bye.